Morning all, happy Friday. It's the 16th of July. We are Signal Centre talking ball. I'm Joe Neighbour, joined by Steve O'Hare. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning.
We made it through another week.
Yes, and you're on
Didn't
your
feel
own
like that
next
we
week,
would
Joe.
on Monday morning.
Felt like the end of the world. And yeah, there didn't seem to be a Tuesday, but funny enough, we woke up on Tuesday and it seems to be all good in the hood. A bit of madness on Sunday, lots of emotion the following days, and at the end of the week, it's all forgotten about.
Yeah,
almost.
like it never happened. You're off on holiday next week as well, so you got.
I am sunshine drinks today, Joe. If you're about. For virtual sunshine drinks.
Yeah, call it on. All right, cool. Let's get stuck in then to the last video of the week. Next week it'll be me on my own going through as much as I can in Steve's absence, just to round up on what's going on with the markets, both from a fundamental and technical perspective, maybe even some sentiment as well, as that's something new that we've added. Okay, so first up, it looks like there's been some more research going on with regards to the vaccines. There's been a study in Hong Kong that found that the BioNTech mRNA vaccine produces antibody levels that are at least 10 times higher than the Sinovac shot. That's the Russian one, isn't it? The Sinovac one?
Yes.
Okay, so there is highlighting a growing inequality in the pandemic era between what vaccines people have and how much they have. Obviously, a lot of countries desperate to catch up. We've seen places like Australia go back into lockdowns, New Zealand as well. So, clearly more problems that we're going to face. Having said that, Angela Merkel was over in the US yesterday. She had her first meeting with Joe Biden since he took office. And they're both in discussions as to whether or not they can lift the travel restrictions between Europe and the US. So they're looking to have a meeting on that internally in the US and get an answer within the next several days. So that would be quite interesting to see. Some sad scenes going on in Germany and Belgium with regards to the floods. Germany's seen its worst flooding for decades. Lots of heavy rain over Wednesday and Thursday, and floods also swamping parts of Luxembourg and the Netherlands. So people dying, unfortunately, which is not good to see. And of course, global warming has been stuck with the blame on that one. So sad scenes, and hopefully everybody else, there's no more fatalities as a result of that. Okay, that's pretty much it on the headlines. Pretty light. So let's get stuck into some charts, shall we? Where would you like to start today, Steve?
I'll tell you where I might start. I might do indices last because there's a couple of things I want to show on there. Start with cryptos, Bitcoin, and looking pretty negative, as I've been talking about and boring everyone about for a while now. Still feel that we are in a fourth wave correction, waiting to break down in the fifth wave, which I expect to see prices at least get to 20,000, if not lower. Ooh, not very good. Sorry about that, all those crypto lovers out there. Taking a look at commodities, I'll take a look at oil. We've had a bit of a correction in oil. Let's try and zoom in on this chart. This is the daily chart, and we've seen two negative days. We talked about this yesterday being a bearish engulfing, bearish outside candle maybe, and this has had a decent follow through, like a Marubozu candle. Marubozu candle opens at the high or the low. This is a bearish Marubozu, opens at the high, closes at the low, doesn't have any wicks either side, so pretty negative indeed. And 70.20 is the level of support that if we do break down below there, we'll find some support at 69.50. We've got the cloud coming, so this is just a minor correction, but it really looks like we could get like a nice ABC correction, and often these can be quite uniform in scale. So that has a measured move maybe down to 68.80, and again the 67.80 level combines with the Ichimoku cloud to provide support. So yeah, it feels pretty negative on there. It really needs to break above yesterday's high to sort of have any chance of recovering. 72.42 is the high. On gold's had a decent run. We've had a decent correction, and we had plenty of support coming through after we broke above the 1818 level, 1,800 at $18. And we've had little pullbacks towards that level, and price is just trading above there at the moment, 18.22. Be careful here. We've got a potential for an evening's doji star formation. So yesterday's candle very close to a doji, a little bit of a wide body, but not far away. If we do get negativity following through today into the close, then this would be a classic evening star formation, which will warn us that there is this is just a correction and potential for this downtrend that we've seen recently to continue. So be careful with gold. Yeah, I'm going to jump in to indices. There's a couple of things I really want to look at in indices. I'll leave the FTSE till last. Everyone's on the edge of their seat now. So we've got this in the DAX, pretty negative. It stalled at the previous swing high. We've got decent follow through yesterday. It's fighting back this morning. I do believe this may be short-lived. If we look at the shorter term time frames, oh, you can see my gun to the head trade from yesterday, which did end up being a winner, but we've sort of back up to that entry level now. Really think if we do, really DAX needs to get well above the 15,750 level to sort of and close above there to sort of negate the last day's price action or couple of days. But be very, very wary of a break of yesterday's swing low, 15,588, break of there, and we should see this move extend into the weekend, potentially into next week as well. Dow Jones hanging about the all-time highs. 35,000 is obviously a classic psychological level. Big round numbers, looking pretty good. We've got 3 tests of this really. So this 4-hour candle, which finishes at 10 o'clock, is looking a bit indecisive, a little bit hanging man doji type. So be careful. Now the real surprise, I suppose, was it wasn't a surprise that it had some form of correction, but as a lot of the indices picked up on the US side of things yesterday, the Dow and the S&P, Nasdaq was the loser. And we saw a really decent sell-off in the Nasdaq, and it broke down below the 14,800 level, although it has just recaptured that. So we are toying with previous support, which is now resistance, and yeah, looking to maybe even fade into this, because if we look at the daily chart, yesterday was a bearish outside candle, and this was preceded by a shooting star candle, which are great candles, and before that we had an indecision candle, a doji candle, and we are on this trend line. So if we do get a break of yesterday's low, that would come in at 14,717, so only 100 points lower, then, and a close below there, then for me that's negative, and we should get some more follow through selling next week. S&P's held up quite nicely. We've got the all-time highs just below 4,400. Bit of a negative day and trying to fight back again this morning. But on all these charts, we've got the momentum dying. So be aware. China 50 had a decent day yesterday, and again we've sort of like found support around this 16,400, just above their level. Although the price action from today has been negative, and maybe looking to retest that. It all feels like we could be in for a bit of a shock, and it's coming up, but we're at decent support levels. So could this be another fake move? Right, so FTSE, this is the one I'm quite excited about. We're in this.
You've built up a lot of anticipation around this now, Steve. So.
I know everyone's really excited, and I'm going to tell you about it. We've got this upward trending support line. It's got 2 points here, 3 points here, and it's held above this 4th and 5th point. So this is pretty important. We've got the Ichimoku cloud. I'm sure Armin is sitting at home thinking, what is this Ichimoku cloud that Steve keeps talking about? I will explain it to him one day. And we've broken below it, and we closed below it on the daily chart yesterday. We're in the middle of a small rally, and I think you're obviously thinking, right, are we going to sort of recover, or are we going to do we need to fade this? So for me, also, one of the formations I picked up on was a head and shoulders type formation. It's not a classic head and shoulders, because a classic head and shoulders would see prices rally from a swing low. This is almost just a mid-range head and shoulders formation, so not the best formations. However, it's a classic reaction. We see the break of the neckline, we see a pullback, and then we see a sell-off. So I am going to draw another trend line in here. Really, I see a risk there. If we get back above 7,088, then yeah, maybe this bet's off, or maybe just a right shoulder, which is 7,114. However, one of the really interesting things is our analysts have looked at this, and they have looked and they see it as a sell. Over the last 24 hours, it's pretty, the news flow has been pretty middle of the road. We're looking to sell this. We've triggered this morning. Confidence is low on this because we're going against the short-term, medium to long-term trend. But our analyst that's written this has been doing quite well recently. That's probably the one bar of confidence that we've got in it. However, let's have a look at the Acuity dashboard, which is our parent company, and this pops up a 70% confidence rating in this market alert. Hourly news sentiment is moving lower, and in 70% of the previous 10 occurrences, price has fallen within 12 hours. Now, this was published 3 hours ago. So for me, when we get the technicals and the news sentiment doubling up in the same direction, that gives me more confidence and makes me believe in the trade more. This is how these sort of tools can be used by traders. It's all about having the right tools in your toolkit. So yeah, for me, I'm going to go gun to head on this. So I'm all in, mate. Over to you, Joe, on the FX before everyone gets too excited.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Steve. Right, I'm going to quickly whiz through this. So first up, dollar index looking pretty robust and strong. Gains yesterday and further gains today. So we're trading in this kind of, wedge, flag, whatever you want to call it. It's moving higher, may break to the downside at some point and create some sort of correction to the downside, but I think the likelihood is we're going to see it continue grinding higher towards this resistance level at 93.02, which will fill this gap that we created back here on the 5th of April to the 6th of April. Then above that, we're targeting the 93.43 level, which is all important in my eyes, because if we look at the long-term setup here on the weekly chart for dollar index, then what we are facing is a double bottom pattern, as you can see there. So we've got the two bottoms in the green arrows. If we break above this 93.43, we complete a double bottom setup, and then we're looking for higher prices up towards this kind of zone at 97.76, which is the measurement of the double bottom projected higher. So still looking pretty good on the dollar index front. Now, obviously, that has wide implications for everything else linked to dollar. If we go to euro dollar first up, this is interesting because for weeks now I've been talking about this potential head and shoulders top pattern that's been forming here. Charts get a little bit messy with some drawings here as I probably over annotate or over analyze the potential right shoulder here. But the really important thing is that we're down at this level here, which is the neckline of this head and shoulders top pattern. So it hasn't actually confirmed the pattern. It needs to have a decent close below that, and I'd say there need to be some impulsive selling as well to really confirm that. So we're looking with waiting with bated breath for this 117.81 level to break on a closing basis. And if you wanted additional confirmation, I think we need to take out this horizontal level here at 117.04, and then we're faced with a really large top pattern. Simultaneously, I imagine we'll get the double bottom break on the dollar index as well. So two massive reversal patterns forming here on the longer term charts, which will really set up some big moves, I think, over the short to medium term, that hopefully from a technical perspective we can certainly try and capitalize on after weeks of this kind of moving sideways. So yeah, interesting, I think, on that front. If we take a look at some of the other markets linked to dollar index, again, Aussie, I think this is already done. This has already run its race from a perspective of forming the top. That was done down here in mid-June, and now we're grinding lower. So it's just a case of waiting for it to take out the next low, which is at 74.09. Looks set to do that probably in today, I would have said. There was more selling yesterday. We engulfed all of the previous day's session with yesterday's selling. So for me, this looks, one of the most bearish out there at the moment. So I'd be looking to sell that on any sort of strength, or potentially on a breakdown below this support level. New Zealand dollar, US dollar is still sort of holding firm. I'm sort of the opinion that this is going to form a top, but it hasn't done it yet. It needs to break through these support levels here that have formed between 69.22 to 69.43. And it's holding above it at the moment. So waiting for confirmation on that one as it stands. If we look at cable, this isn't doing an awful lot either. It's sort of range bound, as you can see, between these levels here at 136.70 to 142.41, which is a massive range on the daily chart. Limited trading opportunities, I think, on this one. So, for me, when looking at the dollar, I think you can quite comfortably, sort of get long of the dollar index. And if you're going to be playing the dollar index, then keeping an eye on that euro dollar top. And the neckline today is quite important. And also, I think, Aussie US dollar is the best play at the minute on that side of things. I did talk about yesterday yen sort of showing some strength as well. Looks as though it's sort of bouncing back a little bit, but this is euro yen. So euro yen going lower is yen strength or euro weakness. So for me, we've seen a break of the channel, we've seen a retest of the channel, and now we've seen selling. So we've got some support formed at 129.62. It came under pressure yesterday, a bit of a bounce back today, but I fancy that to give way and then for more selling to persist on that one. And on my gun to the head trades, I've been sort of that opinion for the last week or so, and results have been pretty good just by continually looking to sell these pairs against Japanese yen. So that'll do for today. I think on the FX side of things, I don't want to get too involved. We've got obviously ideas available on all of these markets. Okay, so gun to the head from yesterday. We had two winners. Steve, you mentioned that you went short of DAX and you made just under half an hour, 47 ticks. That'll do. And I made 1.37 on Aussie yen.
Nice.
So as you can see, three yen trades in a row there and three winners. So that's quite nice. Will I go with it again today? I don't know. I need to take 2 minutes while Steve's talking through his idea to try and find something that works. So, Steve, what do you fancy today?
Well, I've got to go with FTSE, haven't I? After I'm built it up into this massive, great big thing. We'll call it a thing. Yeah, but so when you started talking, it was trading at 70.45, and that's where that's where I wanted to put my gun to head trade on. But it's moved lower now, Joe. So you've cost me.
I've cost myself as well because I was looking at euro sterling and it's just gone.
So I'm going to. Well, I'm just going to get short here on this gun because there's a gun to my head. This is what I'll do. I'll sell it here. Now the stop on this, I don't like it being just a 2-to-1 trade idea. It feels like
it's not how we like to end the week, is it?
No, not really. We'd like to end with some sort of explosive trade. So I tell you what, okay, this would be the ideal trade, but I'm going to target a move down here, get some more out of it. And maybe I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to even take my stop a bit lower. So take my stop down to here. 230. Oh, that reminds me, I've got a dentist next week. 460, 920. So how about this one? 4-to-1. I love a 4-to-1 shot on a Friday afternoon. That's it. Getting short here. 69.44. The target. The stop is at 70.59. The stop's a bit too tight, really, but I'm being forced into it because Joe talked too long.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that. I also killed myself on that one because I was looking to go short of euro sterling, and it was up here at 85.45 when I began waffling, and now it's down here. So I've sort of missed a boat on that one, and risk reward now simply not good enough on that. It was 3-to-1, it's now 1.3, so that one is getting binned. Right, so I talked about being bullish of Japanese yen, so I'm going to continue banging that drum. This is euro yen. Sorry, no, it's not. It's Aussie yen. This is the downtrend that I'm looking at on the hourly chart. we seem to be forming these sort of ranges that we're breaking down from and then retesting. So it's looking quite nice from a technical perspective. Therefore, I'm going to sell it right now, 81.80. Stop loss going to be quite tight. I'm just going to go with 22 ticks, 82.02, so 23 ticks, and going to target this move down here. Why not?
What's the target, Joe? What's the target?
80.64. So if we go scroll all the way left on the hourly chart, there's a little bit of support down here. So there was a resistance, as you can see. We broke through that, then we retested it on a couple of occasions. So that's a nice little level to target, I think. So yeah, that's my trade of the day. Selling.
Lovely.
That.
I like that. It's funny if you just. I think the thing I find interesting about this is that our analysts have looked at this and they've taken over the last 24 hours. There's been 100% positive news sentiment in Aussie yen. But I think obviously our analysts are feeling a little bit the same way. They feel there's a bit to come off before we maybe get the follow through from the new sentiment. So they're looking to get long 81 with a stop at 80.40. So we could actually capture both the high and the low in the market today.
So what's their entry?
81.00.
Right.
Your target. So you're targeting just below there. Their stop is at 80.40. So
right, I'll change my level and profit level to the same as the entry level on the buy for our analysts.
All right. Okay. I'll make sure
and that's still decent. That's still sort of 3.4R from here. So
yeah,
you know,
nice.
two-way trading at Signal Centre today. That's
amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
That's what we want to see. Okay, superb. So what have we got today to be aware of? I don't think there's loads. Can't find my notes.
No, you might just
waffle. Okay, US retail sales at 1:30. Then we've got US Michigan confidence index at 3 p.m. So a couple of gauges there to keep an eye out for. In terms of earnings, busy day in Europe. Ericsson, Swedbank, Atlas Copco, and in the US we've got State Street, Charles Schwab, and Kansas City Southern all reporting today. So nothing huge, I don't think, or particularly market moving. A couple of banks, which may be of interest, but I think next week it really starts going with all the tech names.
Excellent.
Cool. All right. Well, have a great weekend, everybody. Steve, have a fantastic week off next week.
Thanks, mate.
And look forward to having you back the week after that.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.